You're listening to CJSF 90.1 FM online at www.cjsf.ca, broadcasting from Burnaby, British Columbia at Simon Fraser University. This is KPW with This Week in BC Minor League Sports, and during this half-hour show today, we'll recap Week 21 of the BC Major Midget League, which is a league for 15 to 17-year-olds playing competitive hockey here in the province of British Columbia. We don't do any major league sports in this program because this is a community radio station, and also there's plenty of minor league sports or junior sports locally for you to check out. For example, minor hockey, especially if you're here in the Lower Mainland. Now, what I'll be focusing on here on this program, because it's hockey season, is the BC Major Midget League, with the final week of the regular season happening this weekend, and then the playoffs will begin next Friday. Now, the top 7 playoff spots have already been clinched, but some of the seedings have not yet been decided, including top spot overall in the league. So really, the only thing that's been decided in terms of seeding is a 3rd spot in the standing. So it's still a big weekend here this weekend in the BC Major Midget League. I'm going to go over the standings a little bit later on in this program, but before that, I'm going to recap last weekend's action, week number 21 of the BC Major Midget League, right here on CJSF Radio. Now, just some background information if you're listening for the first time about the BC Major Midget League. It was established in 2004 to provide elite level 15, 16, and 17-year-old players an opportunity to play within their own age group at a high level. Now, this league also helps to develop these young hockey players as they prepare for junior hockey leagues and beyond. And with the BC Major Midget League, there are games being held every weekend, either in the Lower Mainland in Burnaby, Langley, Richmond, or Coquitlam, or out of town in Prince George, Nanaimo, Victoria, Kelowna, Chase, and Castlegar. Now, all of the games are free to attend, so it's good to check out this league if you're interested in some good competitive minor hockey action. And it's a privilege to be able to talk about the BC Major Midget League on our sports program here on CJSF 90.1 FM. And it might not get a lot of press in other stations or on other sports shows, but it's good to talk about this league because National Hockey League players such as Evander Kane, Brandon Gallagher, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, just to name a couple, they played in this league during their teens. And in fact, in 2010, there were 16 former BC Major Midget League players who were drafted by NHL teams, including Gallagher, and there are 10 former players from the BC Major Midget League drafted in 2013, which was last year, by NHL teams. So you could be watching future NHL stars if you come out and take in some of these games in the BC Major Midget League. Now, this is the final weekend of the season, of the regular season anyway, and it's a privilege to be able to cover this league and talk about these future stars on this program. Now, so let's take a look at the BC Major Midget League action. As 10 of the 11 teams were in action last weekend, with only the 3rd place Valley West Hawks idle. So now with the game action, let's start off first at the Hollyburn Country Club in West Vancouver, where the Vancouver Northwest Giants took on the visiting Thompson Blazers on Saturday night, February the 22nd. Now, on paper, this game looked like a mismatch, with the Giants tied for first place with only 5 losses in 36 games this season. The Blazers, meanwhile, had won only 5 games all year and were second last in the league standings. And as it turned out, it was all Giants in this one. Owen Stout opened the scoring for the Giants just a minute and 15 seconds into the contest, and Captain Quinn Thompson added another goal later in the first period, I should say, and it was 2-0 after 20 minutes. Now, Vancouver Northwest poured it on in the second period when high-scoring defenseman Dante Fabro got his 21st goal of the season just 2 minutes in. It was 3-0 at that point. And the Giants weren't done there, because 4 minutes after that, Quinn Thompson scored his second goal of the game and then his third to complete the hat trick with 5 minutes remaining in the second period. Now, in total, the Giants scored 5 times in that period alone, and they were ahead 7-0 after 40 minutes. Vancouver Northwest added 3 more goals in the third period, with Tack and Holt getting 2 of them to make the final score Giants 10, Thompson Blazers nothing. Now, while Giants captain Quinn Thompson was a big story in the contest with 3 goals, giving him 24 on the season, Justin Zito also had a big night with 5 assists in the game for the Giants. Colton Kerfoot, the league's leading scorer, had a goal and 3 assists as well. So a big night overall for the Vancouver Northwest Giants as they win 10-0 over the Thompson Blazers on Saturday night. Now, with the win, the Giants improved to an amazing 30 wins, 5 losses, and 2 ties on the season. So, again, just amazing record, 30 wins in 37 games on the season. That's first place in the league. And the Giants then took on the Blazers again on Sunday morning, again at the Hollyburn Country Club in West Vancouver. This time, the score was much closer, but it was still the same result because the Giants won in the end. And Dante Fabro, the high-scoring defenseman of the Giants, put them ahead midway through the first period on Sunday with his 22nd goal of the season. Colton Kerfoot notched his 34th goal of the year late in the first period, and it was 2-0 after 20 minutes. Captain Quinn Thompson continued his hot scoring streak with his 25th of the year, 6 minutes into the second period, and it was 3-0. The Thompson Blazers finally got on the scoreboard just over a minute after that, with Alex Winters scoring to make it 3-1. But unfortunately, that was as close as the Blazers would get, because Quint Bangerfield scored for the Giants with 7 minutes left in the second period, and the Giants added 2 more goals in the third to make it 6-1. Now, the Blazers' Dexter Robinson scored late in the third period to make the final score on Sunday, the Vancouver Northwest Giants 6, the Thompson Blazers 2. Now, Colton Kerfoot had a goal and 2 assists on Sunday as he still leads the league in scoring, 1 point ahead of Okanagan's Tyson Jost. Now, the weekend sweep by the Giants gave them a record of 31 wins, 5 losses, and 2 ties, and that's good for 64 points. Now, they went into last weekend tied for first place with the Okanagan Rockets, so how did those Rockets do? Well, Okanagan took on the Caribou Cougars for a pair of games in Prince George last weekend, and it was all Rockets on Saturday. Tyson Jost scored 4 goals and added 2 assists, while Liam Finley had a goal and 3 helpers as the Rockets defeated the Cougars by a score of 9-2. Now, the Rockets, who were having some injury problems, would play the majority of the game on Sunday morning with only 12 skaters. Now, despite playing shorthanded, the Rockets once again found a way to win as they beat the Cougars 5-4 on Sunday to complete the 2-game sweep. Now, Okanagan lost 2 players in the first period in the Sunday contest, with Liam Finley getting knocked out of the game with an injury and Marlon Head being ejected from the game because of an illegal hit. But it was Tyson Jost who came through again, getting 3 goals, 2 in the third period to lift the Rockets to the 1-goal victory on Sunday morning. And with the Rockets trailing 3-2 late in the second period in that one, Jost got his 37th goal of the year to tie it. The Cougars actually went ahead 4-3 early in the third period on Jesse Roach's second goal of the game, but the Rockets tied it on Jost's 38th goal of the season with 12 minutes remaining in regulation. Jost then completed the hat trick with 9:25 remaining in the game to make it a 5-4 final for Okanagan. Now, for Jost, it was his 3rd consecutive game with at least 3 goals, so 3 straight hat tricks for Tyson Jost. Now, he has 39 goals in the season in only 34 games, and teammate Tanner Campbell, meanwhile, added his 29th goal of the season for Okanagan. Jesse Roach had 2 goals and an assist for Caribou in a losing effort. Now, with the series sweep, with the 2 wins over the Cougars, I should say, on the weekend, the Rockets improved to 31-5-2, and they remain tied with the Vancouver Northwest Giants for first place heading into this weekend, the final weekend of the regular season. Now, the Rockets do have the tiebreaker if both teams finish with the same identical record. Now, on to more action. In a high-scoring affair on Saturday night in Abbotsford, the Fraser Valley Thunderbirds clinched a playoff spot with an 8-6 victory over the visiting Vancouver Northeast Chiefs. Andrew Strelezki had 3 goals and assists for the Thunderbirds. Alexander Burke added 2 goals for the Thunderbirds as well, and captain Austin Wellesby had 3 assists. Now, the Thunderbirds' 5-goal second period gave them a 6-3 lead after 40 minutes. And even though the Chiefs scored 3 times in the final period, it wasn't enough in an 8-6 outcome. Chiefs captain Connor Burke had 4 assists, though, in a losing effort for Vancouver Northeast. Then on Sunday, the series shifted to the Planet Ice rink in Coquitlam, and the Chiefs jumped out to a 2-0 lead in the second period on goals by Austin Campo and Connor Burke. The Thunderbirds, though, tied the game with 2 goals in the latter stages of the second, with Andrew Strelezki notching his 26th goal of the season and Austin Wellesby getting his 17th of the year, and the score was tied 2-2 after 40 minutes. In the third period, the Chiefs struck for 5 goals, with Matthew Davis getting a pair, and the Chiefs went on to a 7-3 victory. And I chatted with Thunderbirds head coach Bill Grieve after Sunday's contest.
With Bill Grieve, the head coach of the Fraser Valley Thunderbirds, a tough 7-3 loss today to the Chiefs, but coming in, you guys had been undefeated in the last 6 games to clinch a playoff spot. So thoughts on your team's play the last 3 weeks?
Yes, our team's played very well down the stretch here. We've got a lot of confidence in what we're doing. Today we had a couple of injuries in this game, so we had to pull up a couple AP players, and it indicated that we got a 7-3 loss today. But our team's focused on doing well and going far in the playoffs, and we're looking good right now.
Now, there was no letdown after you guys clinched a playoff spot last night, because you guys came out hard in the third period in a fast-paced game. So are you proud of the way you guys played?
Oh, we're very proud of this team and how far they've come. They've come a long ways, and they've got a lot of pride in what they're doing and a lot of compassion for the game. And I'm very happy with where we are sitting right now.
Once again, congratulations, Coach Grieve, and good luck in the playoffs.
Oh, thank you.
And here's Andrew Strelezki with 3 goals on Saturday and 1 more on Sunday, giving him 26 goals in 38 games this season.
Andrew Strelezki, the forward for the Fraser Valley Thunderbirds. Tough 7-3 loss today to the Chiefs, but congratulations for clinching a playoff spot last night. And you had a big game last night, 3 goals and an assist. Thoughts about your efforts?
Well, our team battled real hard. We won races with the pucks. We really worked hard. It was a good team effort to make the playoffs.
Now, you guys were a hot streak coming into today, like undefeated in the last 6 games. What have been the keys to your team's success these last 3 weeks?
I think it's just working together as a team. Everyone's battling, getting along. But playoffs are coming up, so we've got to really come together soon. And
you're an All-Star this year, Andrew, so tell us a bit about yourself. Have you been drafted?
Actually, no.
Okay, and what are your plans for next season?
Just try out for Junior A team or WHL.
Okay, good luck with that. And tell us who your favorite AHL player is and why.
Probably Sidney Crosby. He shows up every game, gives it 110%, and he produces a lot. So, yeah, probably Crosby.
All right, awesome. So thanks so much, Andrew, for the interview, and again, congratulations for making the playoffs.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Time now for a public service announcement, and then we'll be back for some more scores and updates from the BC Major Midget League right here on CJSF 90.1 FM. On Saturday, March the 8th, 2014, Young Women in Business, Simon Fraser University, also known as YWIB SFU, will be hosting a conference for the SFU community and the high school and post-secondary students of Greater Vancouver at Century Plaza Hotel in celebration of International Women's Day. Featuring inspirational guest speakers, a well-rounded panel, and an engaging expo, the conference is dedicated to encourage professional and personal growth. Now, with a theme this year as defining success, their goal is to engage the community in the discussion of the various definitions of success, empowering each other to pursue their true passions. Now, I should mention that this event is for females and males, as YWIB is welcoming males to attend as well. They've also added the full speaker and panelist biographies up on their webpage at www.ywib.ca/SFU, so you can check that out. That's www.ywib.ca/SFU. Now, for more information about this event, it's happening on Saturday, March the 8th. The location is Century Plaza Hotel at 1015 Burrard Street. That's 1015 Burrard Street in Vancouver. This is from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. and the dress code is business casual. Ticket prices, now for high school students, the price is $25, and that's if you get your ticket between now and March the 2nd. The ticket price for SFU students who are non-YWIP members is $35, provided you get your ticket by March the 2nd. The general admission ticket price is $40 if you get your ticket by March 2nd. Then that will be for students from other post-secondary institutions and also for professionals as well. Again, for more information, you can go to www.ywib.ca/SFU. That's www.ywib.ca/SFU. And on their website, you also get the latest updates regarding guest speakers, exhibitors, and other exciting new perks that they'll be prepared to present. In fact, they've updated their expo page so you can take a look at some of their exhibitors. Now back to this week in BC Minor League sports and more scores from last weekend in the BC Major Midget League. At the Richmond Oval, the Greater Vancouver Canadians took on the last place Kootenay Ice in a pair of games last weekend. On Saturday, the Canadians ripped the ice by a score of 10-0, with Dante Hanoun getting 4 goals. Blake Hayward also added 2 goals for the Canadians. And then on Sunday, the Canadians and the Ice played to a 3-3 tie, with Trevor Van Steinberg getting the tying goal for Kootenay with 1:46 remaining in the second period. Neither team scored in the third, and the game ended in a 3-3 draw. Now, a big point for the Ice on Sunday as they improved to 5-27-6, and they move into a tie with the Thompson Blazers for 10th place. Now, the Ice and Blazers play twice against each other this weekend, and that will decide who finishes 10th and who will finish in last place. The Canadians, meanwhile, have wrapped up their regular season schedule. They finished the year 19-18-3. They have 41 points and are 1 point ahead of the Vancouver Northeast Chiefs for 4th place. Now, the Chiefs are in tough this weekend against the first place Okanagan Rockets, who will try to win out to remain in first place over the Vancouver Northwest Giants. Got all that? Well, essentially, the Chiefs can still finish 4th if they win one of the 2 games in Kelowna against the Rockets this weekend, because the Chiefs trail the Canadians by 1 point in the standings, and the Canadians are finished with their regular season schedule, so the Canadians cannot add to their point total, so they're stuck at 41 points, and the Chiefs have 40 points with 2 games remaining this weekend, and both games are in Kelowna against the Rockets. Now, the Rockets also need to keep winning to remain in first place, so basically everyone needs to win, so it should make for a competitive final weekend of the season. Finally, the North Island Silvertips and the South Island Royals split a home-and-home series last weekend. The Royals won on the road in Nanaimo on Saturday, beating the Silvertips 3-2. The Silvertips then returned the favor on Sunday, beating the hometown Royals in Victoria by an 8-2 score. This again was an important matchup because the Silvertips and the Royals are battling for the 8th and final playoff spot in the league. The Silvertips now have 29 points, they're in 8th place. The Royals have 28 points and are in 9th place. So just 1 point separates these 2 teams, and only one of them will go to the playoffs. Now, the South Island Royals, they will take on the 7th place Fraser Valley Thunderbirds at home this weekend for a pair of games. And the North Island Silvertips battle the 3rd place Valley West Hawks at home. So it looks like at this point, the 9th place Royals, they have an easier schedule, so to speak, because they're playing against the 7th place Thunderbirds, and the 8th place Silvertips are taking on a 3rd place Valley West team, which is fairly strong. But you never know, so that's why they play the games, and we'll see who will clinch that final playoff spot between the Silvertips and the Royals. So it should be an intriguing weekend, as you know, the final playoff spot could come down to the final games of the season. Now, for this weekend's schedule, none of the games are happening in the Lower Mainland, unfortunately. But if you're out in Prince George, the Caribou Cougars will take on the Vancouver Northwest Giants for a pair of games. And in Kelowna, the Okanagan Rockets will take on the Vancouver Northeast Chiefs for 2 games as well. Now, what's at stake here again is that the Giants and the Rockets are battling for the number 1 seed in the league and for home ice advantage for the playoffs. The Chiefs, who are playing the Rockets, still have a shot at 4th place. So it's a big game for them as well. The Chiefs are sitting just 1 point back of the Greater Vancouver Canadians, who have completed their regular season schedule and are idle this weekend. For the complete listing of games this weekend, check out the league's website at www.bcmml.net. And now let's take a look at the standings heading into the final weekend of the season. As mentioned, the Okanagan Rockets and the Vancouver Northwest Giants are tied for first place. Both teams have 31 wins, 5 losses, and 2 ties. That's good for 64 points. Even though both teams are tied for first place, the Rockets have the tiebreaker because they went 2-1-1 against the Giants earlier this season. Meanwhile, the Valley West Hawks are in 3rd place, and they cannot move up or down in the standings, so they're locked in at the 3rd spot. Valley West has a record of 25 wins, 11 losses, and 2 ties. That's good for 52 points. The Greater Vancouver Canadians, as mentioned, have finished their regular season schedule, and they finished with a record of 19 wins, 18 losses, and 3 ties. So 1 game over 500. They have 41 points in 40 games. They're in 4th place, but that could change depending on what happens with the Vancouver Northeast Chiefs, because the Chiefs right now are in 5th place. They have 40 points, 1 point back of the Canadians. The Chiefs have a record of 18, 16, and 4. But as mentioned, they are going to be in tough this weekend because they take on the first place Okanagan Rockets. So it could again come down to the final day of the season to see if the Chiefs can somehow overtake the Greater Vancouver Canadians for 4th place. The Canadians and the Chiefs would be facing off in the first round of the playoffs if the standings hold. And again, home ice advantage will be important for the playoffs, because I'm going to talk a little bit about the playoffs before we get to the rest of the standings, because the playoffs will start next Friday, and it's a best of 3 series, so they'll play Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and whichever team wins 2 games first will clinch the series. So for the Canadians and the Chiefs, who right now are 4th and 5th, they will take on each other in the playoffs if the standings remain the way they are. And the 4th place team, in this case the Canadians, they would have home ice advantage for all 3 games. So again, it's a very important in terms of trying to get into 4th place so that you can get home ice for the series and try and move on to the next round. So definitely an important weekend for the Chiefs as they try to finish in 4th place if they can somehow get by the Okanagan Rockets. So those are the top 5 spots in the standings. Now 6th place belongs to the Caribou Cougars, who have a record of 17 wins, 19 losses, and 2 ties. And again here, the Cougars, even though they're in 6th place, they could potentially move into 5th if they win both of their games and the Chiefs lose both of theirs. So the Cougars still have something to play for. If they win both their games this weekend, they have a chance to finish in 5th place. So again, the standings could change on the final day of the season when all of the teams have wrapped up their games for the weekend. Now, in 7th place, the Fraser Valley Thunderbirds have a record of 15 wins, 19 losses, and 4 ties. They have 34 points. And again, if they somehow were able to win both their games this weekend, the Thunderbirds could potentially move into 6th place. So again, there's a lot to play for these final 2 games of the season. And as mentioned, only third place is locked up, and that's the Valley West Hawks. Obviously, every team will still try to play hard because they want to get into the playoffs with momentum. But you could see teams going up and down, over the final 2 games of the season. So these standings right now, as it stands, it could change by Sunday afternoon. But for now, the Thunderbirds of Fraser Valley are in 7th place, and they have 34 points with 15 wins, 19 losses, and 4 ties. And the battle for 8th place belongs to the North Island Silvertips, who right now hold the 8th spot. They have 12 wins, 21 losses, and 5 ties for 29 points. The South Island Royals are 9th right now. They are 1 point back of 8th place. They have 12 wins, 22 losses, and 4 ties for 28 points. And again, between the Silvertips and the Royals, who are 8th and 9th right now, only one of those 2 teams will make the playoffs as a final seed in the playoffs starting next week. And finally, in 10th place, or tied for 10th place, I should say, are the Kootenai Ice and the Thompson Blazers. Both the Ice and the Blazers have a record of 5 wins, 27 losses, and 6 ties. Both teams have 16 points, and as mentioned earlier in the program, both teams will face off against each other this weekend to determine who will finish last and who will finish in 10th place. So again, an exciting weekend coming up, and unfortunately, of course, none of the games are happening on the Lower Mainland. But if you are in Kelowna, or if you're in Prince George, or in the interior, you're close by to these games, definitely go check them out. They're free to attend and should make for an exciting weekend because of what's at stake in terms of the standings and the seedings and the final playoff spot. Now, one final piece of announcement here before we wrap up the show. The SFU men's hockey team has secured home ice advantage for the first round of the BC Intercollegiate Hockey League playoffs, and tickets are on sale for the first playoff game happening on Friday, March 7th at 7 p.m. at the Bill Copeland Sports Center. For ticket information, you can go to www.burnabymountainhockey.com/tickets.html. Again, that's www.burnabymountainhockey.com/tickets.html. That's going to do it for this week's program. We'll be back 1 week from now for the next show, and we'll talk to you again next time.